order. And Mary, would you mind doing the roll call?
Actually, I'm gonna leave that to Bill.
Bill, I'm
Melton.
sorry. Bill.
Yes, ma'am. Abington.
John Stone.
Thank you, John.
Hughes.
Avon. Bridgewater.
Srishti Jain.
Thank you. Brockton.
Celia Canterman.
Thank you. Duxbury. East Bridgewater. Easton. Halifax. Hanover. Hanson.
Don Howard.
Thank you, Don. Kingston. Pembroke. Plymouth. Plimpton. Stoughton. West Bridgewater. Whitman.
Dan Salvucci, alternate.
Noreen O'Toole.
Thank you. And Brockton Area Transit.
Michael Lambert, Kelly Forster, and Linda Sacchetti.
Thank you all. Getra.
Mary Ellen DeFrias.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. And MassDOT District 5.
Good afternoon, everybody. Barbara LaGentia.
Thank you, Barbara. And MassDOT Office of Transportation Planning.
Raisa Kwame.
Thank you. All set, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'm going to move on to item number 2. Nope, I'm going to read the accessibility statement first. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI/non-discrimination protections in the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning site, on the Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. And thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to move on to item number 2, which is public comments. Would we have any public comments today?
Noreen, Dan Salvucci. I
Okay.
have something to deal with the mayor's office, so I'll wait till Brockton comes on or in regional concerns.
Alrighty,
Okay.
thank you. Item number 3, minutes of March 7th, 2024. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So move, Dan Salvucci.
Do I have a second?
Second by Hanson.
All in favor? I'm going to have a roll call. Bill?
Sure. Abington.
Yes.
Avon. Bridgewater. Brockton.
Yes.
East Bridgewater. Skip over, going back to Duxbury. Easton. Halifax. Hanover. Hanson.
Yes.
Kingston. Pembroke. Plymouth. Plimpton. Stoughton. West Bridgewater. Whitman.
Yes.
Accept.
Thank you. And Brockton Area Transit.
Yes.
Gatra.
Yes.
MassDOT District 5.
Yes.
And MassDOT OTP.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you all. I'm going to move on to item number 4, which is communications, and that will be Sean.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The first item on the communications packet is the MassDOT Route 24 over Canton Street Bridge Replacement Stage 1 work weekend. The Stage 1 work weekend will be Route 24 southbound from this Friday evening, April 5th through Monday, April 8th in the early hours of the morning. Route 24 and Canton Street below the bridge will be impacted. The southbound bridge will be replaced. Whether or not unexpected circumstances make all construction activities subject to change. And then 8 p.m. on Friday, April 5th to 4 a.m. Monday, April 8th. Travel lanes will be reduced from 3 lanes to 2. Southbound traffic will be shifted onto the northbound bridge, which will carry 2 lanes in each direction. After passing through each work zone, vehicles will return to normal traffic patterns along Route 24. And then the travel tips, please take care to pay attention to all signage as it is posted. Police details, changes in lane markings and temporary controls such as barriers and traffic cones will be used throughout the project to control traffic and create safe work zones within the project limits. If you wish to observe this project in detail, you can click on the project website link in the staff report. And here is a map of the detours for the bridge replacement project. The next item is a culvert replacement municipal assistance grant program, Division of Ecological Restoration, Massachusetts Department of Fish and Game. The culvert replacement municipal assistance grant program is for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts local government units interested in replacing an undersized, perched, and/or degraded culvert located in an area of high ecological value. The applications are due no later than 4 p.m. on April 12th. Please click on the hyperlinks in the staff report if you wish to review this grant program. The next item is an active transportation infrastructure investment program, which is a new competitive grant program created by Section 11529 of the BIL to construct projects to provide safe and connected active transportation facilities in active transportation networks or active transportation spines. There are 2 types of grants that will be awarded: planning and design grants, as well as construction grants. Projects seeking planning and design grants must have planning and design costs of at least $100,000 to be eligible. And then construction grants must have total costs of at least $15 million to be eligible. The applications must be submitted electronically through grants.gov no later than 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, June 17th, 2024. For more information on this program, please click on the hyperlink in the staff report. The next item is the Massachusetts Project Intake Tool, MapHit 5.0 Virtual Classroom. 2 sessions will be available from the UMass Transportation Center, May 7th and 16th, each at 10 a.m. For more information on this virtual classroom, please click on the hyperlink in the staff report. Next item is the MassDOT Beyond Mobility update, announcement of public comment period. MassDOT has announced that the full Beyond Mobility plan and the executive summary are now out for public comment and are available for review on the plan's website. The 30-day public comment period will end May 5th of this year. To provide a comment, you can submit it through the online comment form or email comments to beyondmobility@dot.state.ma.us. For more information, please click on the hyperlink in the staff report. The next item is a Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office, which is the lead agency within the Healy-Driscoll administration, tasked with implementing a whole-of-government approach to ensuring the Commonwealth of Massachusetts can leverage the historic opportunities available for federal funding. The next federal funds partnership meeting will be held April 23rd at 2 p.m. A newsletter ahead of that meeting with new grant opportunities, contact information, and other helpful resources will be emailed out. To register for the Zoom meeting, please click on the hyperlink in the staff report. And that is communications, Madam Chair.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Sean. Any questions? Hearing none, I'm going to move forward to item number 5, which is reports. And item A is Brockton Area Regional Transit Authority, BAT, and that would be Michael.
Thank you, Chair. Just 2 items to report this month. First is our typical ridership report. We do have good news there. Last month, we had very, very strong ridership due both to the recovering economy and to our free service. We're at about 20% over where we were in March of 2019 pre-COVID. So that's great news.
Good.
It's taken us a long time to get back to pre-COVID numbers, and to jump ahead by that much was great to see. One nugget in there is that we provided 20,000 trips last month to Stoughton, or on the Stoughton route, I should say. And that runs from downtown Brockton through Westgate Mall and the hospital to downtown Stoughton and then on to Cobb's Corner. That 20,000 represents a doubling over the number of trips that we provided in March of last year. And so we were curious as to what that meant and parsed out the numbers in terms of downtown Brockton to Westgate Mall, and then from Westgate Mall to Cobb's Corner, and saw a similar increase in both segments of the trip. So that's great. That represents definitely some new customers that are accessing the service along the Stoughton portion of the route. Second item is related to bus shelters. We are about to roll out both a replacement plan that you'll start seeing new shelters out on the streets in the next week or two, and also some new shelters in new locations. So feel free to relay that to your communities in case there was a desire for installation of a bus shelter in your area. And those come with solar lighting and signage as well. That is our update.
Thank you. That's great news, and congratulations on all those trips. It's hard to fathom 20,000 trips. That is great. And the shelters, that's the route. I come through Brockton, coming into this area where I work in Stoughton, and there's a lot of people there all the time. And buses are very busy, so that's a good thing.
Indeed.
Anyone have any comments or questions? Thank you, Michael. Good job. I'm going to move on to item B, which is the Greater Attleboro Taunton Regional Transit Authority, GATRA, and that would be Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are continuing to work through rolling out our Sunday service. Parts of our service have not been affected. We have had some shortage of driver issues, so we have had to cancel some service, but we are working our way through that. It is still our goal to have full 7-day-a-week service that is accessible to all of our residents across the entire service area. We are in the process of looking at different parts of our service area, as the new fiscal year is coming up soon, to see where we could either reduce headways or potentially lengthen our service hours. We do not have the luxury right now of running the same service hours as someone like that, and we need to get more accessibility for our riders, so earlier morning or later in the evening. And that's what we have going on at GATRA right now.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Just because I know we have some new people from the public listening in, would you mind just explaining your service area? Exactly where you go?
Sure. So we go down as far south or east, depending on it, is Wareham. We come up through Plymouth, up through Kingston, all the way up to Bellingham, back down through Taunton and Attleboro. So we kind of hug SRTA and hug BAT on the back sides of each of those. So we've, at this point, 30 communities service, and it's a mixture of fixed route with demand response, with partnerships with our councils on aging, and with microtransit. So depending on where you are in our service area, you may see some slightly different service options.
Right. And what did, not the normal hours, because they're probably up. What are the service hours?
Generally 6 A to 7 P.
Okay.
But, and some of our microtransit and some of our college communities, we do go later, and we're looking at that, working with the colleges to make sure that we can assist them.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for explaining that.
No problem.
Any questions for Mary Ellen of GATRA? All righty, we're going to move on to item number 5C, and that will be the South Coast Rail Project. And that would be Sean?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As everybody knows, the South Coast Rail Project is going to restore commuter rail service between Boston and southeastern Massachusetts by summer of 2024. Taunton, Fall River, New Bedford, being the only major cities within 50 miles of Boston that do not have commuter rail service, will greatly benefit from this project. Phase 1 is going to provide a one-seat ride by extending the existing Middleborough-Lakeville line to Taunton, Fall River, and New Bedford, delivering service by around the summer of 2024. In the month of March, some of the work that was conducted was continued fencing installation in 6 of the communities, continued construction of a pedestrian bridge over Route 18 in New Bedford. And on that note, night work and detours are going to be resuming next week. So anybody who drives to or is from New Bedford, be on the lookout for the detours. Returning of the Mass Coastal Railroad nighttime freight operations on the New Bedford main line, as well as the Fall River secondary line, and daytime brush cutting and tree trimming along the railroad right-of-way in 8 communities. If anybody is interested in receiving the automatic weekly updates for this project, you can click on the link in the staff report and enter in your email address. And that is my update for South Coast Rail.
Thank you, Sean. Any questions for Sean in South Coast Rail? All right, hearing none, I'm gonna move on to item number 6, which is old business. The FFY 2024 to 2028 Transportation Improvement Program TIP implementation. And Bill will also give an informational update on adjustment 2. Bill?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So back in the back at last month's MPO meeting on March 19th, they endorsed FFY 2024 to 2028 TIP as adjusted with adjustment 2. This adjustment was necessary to program in a statewide pilot program for a wrong-way vehicle detection system that they're testing out at various locations across the state, and two of those locations are in within our region, hence it's going into our TIP. This did not meet the threshold for a full-blown amendment, which would have required a 21-day public review and comment period. Instead, this is simply an adjustment that just required a simple vote of the MPO. And so the wrong-way vehicle detection system, so what that is, they use thermal imagery to detect if a vehicle begins to enter the highway in the wrong direction on an off-ramp. In this case, there's two locations or 2 detection systems being installed in Plymouth at Route 3 and Long Pond Road. So when a vehicle begins to enter an off-ramp in the wrong direction, the first step is to make an attempt to get the driver's attention using bright LED lights that brightly illuminate your wrong way, and try to get the driver's attention that way. And then if the vehicle continues to proceed in the wrong direction, continues to proceed onto the highway, then an emergency alert will be sent to various stakeholders, such as the state police and the Regional Highway Operations Center. As I said, the MPO endorsed this unanimously. This does not affect any other programming in the TIP, so this is just simply adding in this project.
Great. Anyone have any questions for Bill?
Okay, why? Everything okay? Okay,
Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna move.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
I don't have a question for Bill, but I just wanted to follow back up with the South Coast Rail. I have
Okay.
an additional update that I did not provide before. Coming directly from Jean Fox. She has reported that they have added new talent to the leadership team to aid the T in navigating the extensive commissioning and testing components required prior to operating the revenue service. They are currently combing through a lot of the information, as well as, in addition, Keolis, the MBTA railroad operations, and the Federal Railroad Administration are closely scrutinizing everything as they prepare to sign off on all of the safety certifications. They hope to have a better handle on the service launch in the coming weeks, and they are continuing to strive for late summer and early fall, but with they do not have an actual confirmation on the timing as of yet.
I had a question, Sean, when you mentioned Taunton Fall River in New Bedford, what was the time frame on that, the year?
That will be what I was just saying. They're hoping that the service will be operational by late summer or early fall
This year.
of this year. Of this year,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Sean? All right, thank you. We are moving on to item 7, which is new business. Development of the FF.
Sorry, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I had a quick question about the TIPS program before you move on.
Okay.
My name is I'm Rosemary Conley with Whitman Finance.
Okay.
We're reviewing just sort of all grants out there and what's coming up, and I was unable to find an update on Whitman's application for the MBTA station online. I don't see us listed on the available literature online, so maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, but if there is an update for that particular project or where we are for Plymouth County on that project. I think we have 2 representatives there from Whitman.
Dan, do you have any information on that?
No,
No.
not at this time.
Bill?
I did not. I was not aware of that. So my apologies.
Okay. Is there? Oh, all right. So you're not aware of the project that we submitted for the TIPS program? All right. I will contact.
So is this for the Route 27 project?
It's right near our MBTA. It's called it's an MBTA area. So it would be, Dan, you would know more than I would.
Right, what we voted on was to accept the MBTA housing in the area MBTA that the
That's
government
not what I'm
passed. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm
So-
talking about talking about redoing Auburn Street, down Auburn Street and along the MBTA sidewalks.
Yeah, right. Bruce Martin is the one that put in for that grant. He received the grant well over a year ago. And that project hasn't started yet. Bruce Martin would have more information on that issue. I know what you're talking about now. Redoing the
He
streets.
directed me here. So, all right, thank you. I'll go back to Bruce. Bye.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know that we do have in the Universal projects, there is it was approved by PRC this past year, reconstruction of South Avenue, for, I want to say like 1.2 miles, something like that, so it's a pretty substantial
yes.
project. And then, so that's in the Universal projects. It's a little, when we went through the different scenarios, yeah, we did look at it for 2029, but it was a little high in cost. So we're but yeah, we're aware of that, and that it does score well. So
Okay, so you looked at it and it was rejected, or it was
no, I wouldn't say rejected. So we so the process for developing the TIP, we look at you know, the entire universe of projects, which is it's about 40 projects in length. We certainly can't fund all those in any given 5-year TIP cycle. So this did come up, and we so ultimately the the scenario that was chosen by the MPO didn't include that project, but that does not mean that, a year from now, that's not getting programmed for 2030 or even 2029. If so, if something happens in 2029 and something's not going to happen, that could potentially be a 2029 project. So it's, unfortunately, with fiscal constraint, we can only program a certain number of projects, and we look at projects against each other, and we try to determine the best mix of projects that we can, given the available funds, and considering other things such as geographic equity. So it wasn't rejected. It just means it didn't make the cycle this time around, but it's certainly going to be considered next year. And just like every other project, it just kind of, if it's not programmed in the 5-year window, this go around, it comes up again next year.
Okay, in part of your formulation, do you include, because this is money given to the district, do you include towns that don't regularly receive funds in some sort of elevated fashion due to the fact that maybe they do have needs, but they haven't had requests made and therefore haven't had their fair sort of portion of state support?
Yeah, so there's a lot of criteria that I've evaluated. So we don't necessarily bias any community whether they've had TIP projects before or haven't. Instead, we look at it things we look at things like community support, we look at things like project readiness, we look at environmental, we look at safety impact, we look at mobility impact. How is this project gonna ultimately go towards achieving the region's performance targets for congestion relief and safety improvement? So it looks at a lot of things like that. And then, so, certainly, some communities, they get multiple projects because it is ranking high in all those criteria. And then, and again, there's always, cost to be considered as well. I think this project, the initial estimate on this project was coming in around $14 million, which is pretty close to our annual regional target, which means something that we need to consider is that it's very likely that this could be exceeding our regional target, which would mean we would need, this gets a little more technical, but would mean that we have to advance construct it. So that's another factor. So after we look at all this different criteria, then we look at cost and how it fits in, and then it's just a bunch of factors that go into it. And we are while it's not a criteria per se, yeah, we are certainly cognizant of the fact if a town hasn't received any TIP project, that's always in the back of our minds. And geographic equity is very important, and so that's something that's considered as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can be reviewed again after we accept the MBTA community, because that might change some of those dynamics on travel, etc. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Charlie, did you have some information to add?
Well, yeah, just to supplement, Bill covered it really well. Just to Rosemary, one of the other considerations was that in terms of readiness, where this project was just approved by the MassDOT Project Review Committee not that long ago, it could be a long shot that it would make a status of ready to be advertising in the 5 years of the current TIP. So that was another consideration. It was readiness. It wasn't just the evaluation criteria. It's just by virtue of the fact that it's very, very early in the design stage. And I understand you you'll have environmental partners as your design consultant. So, but like Bill said, I mean, he said it really well. It's like it's in the tip itself, but it's not in the funding cycle currently. But by all means, keep pushing forward with the designer, keep designing it, and we'll take it up in the next funding cycle. So, we're happy to see the project and happy to work with the town.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Bill. Any other questions for Bill? Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 7B, which is development of the FFY 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. And Charlie will also have discussion of universe of the projects. Charlie?
Madam Chair, I believe
So
we're actually
this
on
is Bill's
7A.
items. Oh,
This
yeah,
is
we're on.
25 to 29 tip. Okay. So I think I think in that my
Oh,
last comment.
sorry, Bill.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's okay. No worries. I think in my last comments, I covered pretty well the process that goes into developing these scenarios. So brief recap. So yeah, we do score everything in our universal projects with a transportation evaluation criteria. We look at project readiness. We look at project cost and how all that compares against our regional targets. And then we develop multiple scenarios, and then each March the MPO ultimately selects a preferred set of projects, and that's just exactly what they did on March 19th. After we presented multiple scenarios to them, the MPO has selected a preferred set of projects with developing the 25 to 29 tip. And I'll run through that if you want to go to the next page. So thank you. So first and foremost, so you'll see beginning in for the first column is we always start off with what's happening right now. So 2024, we do have that project in Stoughton, Route 138, phase one of that from Lincoln Street to Charles Avenue. So that's going forward with this year. And I'll before I go deeper into this, so I'll preface this saying that I'm going to show you 2 pages. So this page right now is the regional target for regional priority projects, and then I'm going to show the statewide project. So I'm going to go starting in 2025 now, and then with the regional, and then I'm going to backtrack to when it gets to state, then I'll go back to 2025. But so so for next year, 2025, you'll see we have in Brockton Center at Plymouth. That was originally 2024. That is now moved to 2025 due to inability to be advertised this year, not being ready to be advertised this year. And then next on the list, you see the other Brockton project. There's intersection of Summer and Lyman and Grove, including the Grove Street replacement of the Grove Street Bridge. That was originally 2025. That is now 2026. In Easton, you have the Route 138 corridor improvements that remains in 2025. Let's see. In Abington, you have the reconstruction of Hancock Street, Chestnut Street, that remains in 2026. In Duxbury, on the Duxbury-Kingston line, you have the installation, intersection improvements. I don't think it's been determined if that's going to be traffic signals around about yet, but intersection improvements at the ramps, Route 3 and Route 3A, that was 2026 due to fiscal constraint next year. That is now 2027. in Hanover, this is a new project. The intersection improvements on Columbia Road, which is Route 53 at Broadway. That is, we are programming that for 2029. So that's an addition of a new project. In Abington, intersection improvements on Route 139 at Chestnut Street and Old Randall Street. That is 2027. In Hanover, corridor improvements on Route 139 at Main Street, Silver Street, and Main Silver Center. That remains in 2028. In Brockton, intersection improvements at Route 123, Belmont Street, at Pearl Street and Stonehill Street. That remains in 2028. And then we have programming of two new projects. One of them, East Bridgewater intersection improvements at Route 18 and Highland Street. That is in 2029. And in Stoughton, intersection improvements on Park Street, which is Route 27 at Turnpike Street, and that is also in 2029. So that's those are projects under the regional targets, regional priority targets. And then finally, so these are the statewide projects. So you can see happening this year, remaining in this year is the Winnetoxet Road Bridge over the Winnetoxet River in Plimpton, and Center at Cary and Lyman in Brockton. Those are both going forward for this year, so that's great news. In for 2025, the state is picking up phase 2 of Route 138, which goes up to the Canton Town line. So that's great news. In Avon, we have intersection improvements at Route 28 at Spring Street and Harrison Boulevard. That remains in 2026. In Duxbury, beginning in 2027, advanced constructed over multiple years, is the replacement of the Powder Point Avenue Bridge over Duxbury Bay. And in Abington, intersection improvements at Route 18 and Route 123. That is in 2028. In West Bridgewater, the bridge replacement on 4th Street over the Town River, that is 2029. In Duxbury, intersection improvements, Route 53 at Franklin Street, that is in 2028. In East Bridgewater, bridge replacement, the West Street Bridge over the Setauket River, that is 2029. In Kingston, bridge replacement, Smith Lane over Route 3, that is 2028. In Brockton, bicycle and pedestrian improvements on Brockton Abington, I should say, bicycle and pedestrian improvements on Route 23, Route 123, that is in 2029. So that's the preferred set of projects that's being used to develop the 2025 to 29 TIP. I'm happy to answer any questions or take any comments on this at this time. This isn't so this is kind of informational only. This doesn't require a vote of the JTC at this time. At next month's meeting, the draft TIP will be out for a public review and comment period, and at that time we would ask the JTC to vote on that. But at this time, it's kind of just informational only.
Thank you very much, Bill. Any questions on the tip for Bill? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to move forward to the FFY 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. And Charlie will be discussing the universe of projects.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So every year around this time, staff here is developing the Unified Planning Work Program, which is kind of our roadmap and scope of work for the upcoming fiscal year, which starts October 1st. And as part of our development and consultation process, staff has developed a list from our recently completed high priority quarter screening assessment that was completed by Coach Chung Lee and Ray Garino about 2 years ago. So what we have is a running list of what we call the universe of projects. And if you could go to the next slide, this begins showing our universe of projects, and it's stratified by community, denoted by the shading. And this is kind of our look to list for conversation. And then we look to the Joint Transportation Committee for any ideas or suggestions for areas that need study. Currently, what staff is working on, there's a Route 139 corridor study in the town of Stoughton, and there's a Route 3A and Route 53 corridor study in the town of Kingston. Last year, staff did a combined East Bridgewater and Bridgewater Route 18 corridor study. And those are examples of the types of studies that we're looking to include in the next work program. So from your input today or going forward over the next couple of weeks, we hope to identify perhaps 2 roadway corridors that we're going to embark on a study. So if we draw your attention to the spreadsheet on the screen, you can see where we've done some studies in the past and where studies haven't been done in some time. And for example, like Route 27 in Brockton, that was studied, whereas Route 28 itself in Brockton hasn't been studied in the last couple of years. So that might be a candidate study area, for example. And as we're panning through, you see number 14 on your screen. That's the current study underway. And on the next slide, continues our list. We have about, I believe, 24 projects that kind of in the queue or been looked at some way, shape, or form. So, for example, in Whitman, earlier to Rosemary's question about Route 27, where the town has a project that's been approved by the MassDOT Project Review Committee and has a designer on board and moving towards a design, we wouldn't propose to study that right now because the town's already advancing an improvement project. But further up on the list, you might see number 16, Plymouth Route 3A. I believe the last time that was studied was in 2007, 2008 timeframe. And I know the town is seeing some increasing development pressures and growth along that corridor. And I know the town's interested in advancing some projects, more specifically in the Cedarville area, and then perhaps also in the downtown. I know one of the things that's come up over the years was the town was interested in examining potential circulation changes in downtown Plymouth between Water Street and Main Street to see if they could make that like a one-way pair. So that could be something we would take a look at if we did a study on Route 3A in Plymouth. But kind of open it up to discussion and questions from the group. And if you all had any ideas where you think we should be focusing our efforts in the upcoming year.
Thank you, Charlie.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Charlie, is that Route 27 corridor project the same one as the South Avenue project?
It could be that where the Route 27 Whitman's divided in, it wouldn't cover the entire town. The project that Rosemary was asking about earlier, that's more on the east side of the town. So this could be a where we do part of Route 27 in Whitman, like on the other side of where this project is being developed.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Charlie? Thank you, Charlie. You know, to the group,
Sure.
take a peek at this when you get a chance. And you can, call the council anytime, if you have some questions on this. Thank you so much, Charlie.
Sure.
I'm gonna move on to the Ocolony Traffic Volumes Report, which is 1993 to 2023. Kyle?
Yes.
That's a big
Yep.
span.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen here. Can everybody see this?
Yep,
Okay, cool.
perfectly.
Yeah, so our 2024 edition of the volumes report has been released, and this showcases the past 30 years traffic counts from 1993 up until last year, 2023. And on the front here, we have a nice drone picture of East Bridgewater. And just fast forward to, so we have the counts separated by state numbered route. And for 2023, we had 58 counts completed, whether that's either MassDOT counts or counts that OCPC completed. And within the report, they're highlighted in yellow for the most recent year of 2023. And then scrolling down, then we come to local traffic counts by community. And here we had 63 locations completed in 2023. And those are also highlighted in yellow. And then towards the end of the document, we have state numbered route traffic growth rate. And this goes by state numbered routes. For first, we have Route 3, and then it'll provide the total growth rate and annual growth. And then at the bottom, it puts it all together, all the state routes. And so 2018, 2022, we had a negative 7% growth rate. Zoom that in a little bit. And annual percent growth of negative 1.79%. And in the chat, I did provide the link for everyone to access this document on our website in the reports section. And I also provided the link for the MassDOT MS2 website. So along with doing this document, at the end of each counting season, we upload all the traffic counts we do to the MS2 website. And this is it's a Google Maps type map. And it has traffic counts throughout the whole state. So all the counts we've done are up there, and you can access any other count throughout the state of Massachusetts. And then in the appendix, we have the traffic count request form. If your community needs traffic counts, you can fill this out and get it to us, and then just a few maps at the end of the document. So yeah, that's basically it. And then we've started counts for the 2024 season, and I'm sure it'll get busy as the weather gets better moving forward. So if anybody has any questions about the volumes report, I can be happy to answer them. You're muted, Noreen.
Sorry about that. As you were doing the research, on the traffic volumes, did you see anything, like particular patterns on this? On, when, I know you have to take COVID out. Do you think that it's a slow increase in traffic, or is it really picking up?
I mean, yeah, with COVID, there was definitely a drop off, but even before COVID, I think it was a gradual increase. Yeah, I feel like there's always a gradual increase, like a 1% increase in traffic. Yeah, that was such an anomaly having COVID, the way it dropped off like that. And I think that the numbers are still off. Like as you can see, like the growth rate with the negative 7% in the region. And with people working from home still, it definitely cuts down on the traffic.
You find that the numbers are down a bit.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, I would say so.
Okay. Anyone have any comments or questions for Kyle? Nice job, Kyle.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Juliana Curry in Bridgewater.
Mhm.
Just wondered, I believe did you indicate that you were going to put the link to the report in the chat, Kyle?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. I didn't see it there quite yet, so I wanted to be sure.
Yeah, and along with that is the link to the MS2 website, which you can access many different counts in the state.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Charlie?
So Kyle, just to go back to like Noreen's question, do you mind if I screen share real quick? I can show an example
Yeah.
of what's in your report.
Mhm.
It's so can everybody see that spreadsheet with some yellow lines on it?
Oh, yeah.
So for example, that here what we're showing is like Route 3 in Duxbury over time from 2023 at the top. It's like most recent is on the
Right.
top and the lowest. And you can see here's the average daily traffic. So the most recent count was about 64,000 vehicles per day. But then you go back to 2001, it was about 60,300. Then you see that, some ebbs and flows, but here was the definite dip around COVID, down to
Right.
54,000, 59,000. But now, like Kyle was saying, it was ticking back up. So, that's some of the real value in this report is
Right.
the historical nature of the count locations. It's a really neat data set that the Kyle has put together, and pulls from different sources, and it's sorted by state numbered route, and then it's sorted by community as well. So here, even in Plymouth, shows some of the trends. How this part in Plymouth, north of Samoset Street, was up in the 70,000 range when they dipped down to 56 odd thousand in COVID. Let's see what else we can find. Just getting more off the beaten path. 3A in Plymouth at the Kingston Town line. It's still not quite recovered. It's the 23 volume was close to what it was in 2015. So, but what's interesting, it seems like things were busier in the early 2000s. There was a real growth boom going on, a lot of traffic, and I think with people working remote or technology wise or finding different ways or shifting to transit, for example, might help explain some of the pattern changes. But yeah, so
Yeah. Thank you,
great
Chuck.
work, Kyle. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing statistics, what's been going on over the years. Nice work.
I see Dan Murphy has his hand raised too.
Okay. Yeah, Dan Murphy.
Oh yeah, just real briefly, Kyle, it's going to be an excellent resource. Appreciate you sharing that with us. But I really wanted to comment on your cover photo. I think that's a great photograph, and I just had to remark on, with Route 18 being the New Bedford Turnpike back in the day, that white building, the white brick building in the center, was the toll building, and that's what people would stop and pay their tolls, and they could rent rooms upstairs, and they added a counting room later on, and at some point served as a post office and general store. So the photograph brought all that back, and I had to share it. Sorry for the tangent.
Thank you.
Dan. Anyone else have a comment or a question for Kyle? Thank you. Good comments. Good work. I'm going to move on to 8, which is other business. The Community Local Technical Assistance Studies Program, and that would be Bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this will be a rather brief update. So we recently completed a traffic study for the town of Bridgewater that was looking at traffic on High Street, Burn Street, and Maple Avenue, specifically with a focus on heavy commercial vehicle traffic. The, the state is going to be used to determine if confirm or either confirm or rebuke theories that truck traffic are kind of using these side streets to kind of circumvent going through the Bridgewater center. So, for example, the turning off of 104 going down High Street and then crossing 1828 and then eventually coming up to 104 again. So avoiding the center like that. So I think yeah, this turned out to be a pretty good traffic study, and we were happy with it, and I think the town was happy with. So ultimate success. So that's great news. And then in your status report here is the updates on the other studies that we're working on across the region. So that is, if anyone has any questions, happy to answer them. But otherwise, that's my update.
Thank you, Bill. Any comments or questions for Bill? Hearing none. Thanks for all your great work. That was great. B is staff reviews on ENFs, EIRs, and MPCs, and that would be Kyle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one new project this month in the town of Plymouth. It's a 16-town wharf, and this project proposes to raise the existing restaurant that was in that location, which is in need of improvements, and constructing a new restaurant. Next, we have some public notices. Notice of submission of yearly operational plan in various towns in our region. Next slide. And this is in regards to applying herbicides on railroad rights of way. Next is the towns of Halifax and Hanson. Notice of issuance of draft Water Management Act permits. And this is in regards to irrigation of cranberry bogs in Halifax and Hanson. Next, notice of comment period extension on yearly operating plan in various communities in our region. And this is in regards to applying herbicides along Eversource rights of way. Next, the town of Plimpton, notice of application for a 401 water quality certificate. This is in regards to the replacement of the bridge over Winnetoxet Road over the Winnetoxet River in the town of Plimpton. And the next one is town of Kingston, notice of application for Chapter 91 waterways license. And this is for performing an ecological restoration activities at a retired 4-acre cranberry bog and to construct and maintain 2 pedestrian footbridges across the newly created stream channel off of Winthrop Street in Kingston. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Kyle. Anyone have any questions or comments for Kyle? Lots going on in your area.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Gonna move on to, if there's no questions, item C, which is regional concerns and local transportation issues. And I know, Dan, you had
Yep.
some issues.
Thank you. First of all, I called Bruce Martin, the superintendent for the DPW. He said that the commissioners were planning on meeting with us, the Board of Selectmen, to talk about the Route 27 project of South Ave by the T station, saying that they did get a letter of approval, but they don't expect anything to be happening from the state for a while, because it's around a $14 million project. So that's, he's gonna update the board, the commissioners will on that. The other subject that I wanted to talk about, I was asked if somebody from the mayor's office attends our meeting, and one of the issue is Forest Street by the exit of the high school. That there's like during school when it's letting out, there's like 10 school buses coming out of that driveway getting onto Forest Street, and there are cars coming up Forest Street, and very congested area at that time, and there's no police officer there. There is a crossing guard, but the crossing guard is there just to stop the traffic and allow kids to cross the street. Other than that, the traffic is fighting. each other. I go Forest Street a lot when I go to the registry. And actually the other day I went there and there was a TA, there was an accident. The tow truck was hauling away a vehicle with extensive front end damage. So I'm certainly sure that it was due to the schools being let out and the buses, and they fight the traffic. So whether or not the mayor would like the police chief of Brockton to take a look at the incident and see if it does require a police officer during the time when school is entering and buses are going in, and then when school is exiting and the high school and buses are coming out, just to direct traffic and keep everybody safe. That's it. I told him I would mention it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Is the Brockton representative still with us? For the mayor's office?
Yes, I am. I will take this up with our Director of Constituent Services and pass it along to the mayor, and hopefully we can get some kind of solution going on there. But I will definitely
Thank
pass
you.
this along.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Celia, very much. Any other comments or questions?
Madam Chair?
Dan, Don, go ahead. Don Howard, did you have a comment?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
Madam
I thought you did.
Chair?
That was Bruce Hughes.
That was Bruce. I'm sorry. Bruce?
Yeah, hey, good news, Monday night at town meeting. Abington passed their MBTA community housing issue.
Oh,
And-
congratulations.
Yeah, and we really did a lot of work on it, and we had multiple public hearings. And when it came time for discussion on the town meeting floor, our town planner Liz Shea really explained it thoroughly and did a great job. And it passed unanimously with absolutely no debate. And there were a bunch of us planning board members sitting together, and we all were shaking our hands, and we were all high-fiving and everything else. But boy, that was a lot of work that went into that. And just for clarification too, it's an overlay district. And I put this on Mass Planners listserv, and a number of communities, contacted me, and I shared it with a couple of communities. So good luck to you communities who are still working on this. It's an extensive amount of work.
A lot of
as
work.
you know
it
it,
is.
but I'm glad it's over with.
Yeah. Good job. And you didn't get any questions because you were over prepared. And that's always a good thing.
For sure. And, I know town meeting, unless it's something strange, they tend to defer to the planning board because a lot of the planning board issues are considered to be too technical. It's crazy. They had a lot of debate on banning nip bottles.
Yep.
But nothing on the MBTA housing.
That's funny.
So I'm glad it's passed.
Yes. Big congratulations to you. It's a lot of
Thank you.
work. Any
you.
other
Bye.
comments or anyone have any questions for the staff or the committee? No? Well, thank you very much. And thank you all for attending. And we will see you next month. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Dan from Whitman.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we can all wave. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Now
Thank you all.
Me.